As you know, heart failure is a major health problem which affects around 5.8 million people in the US and 23 million people worldwide. As you know, that heart failure is a clinical syndrome. It is not a disease and can occur in patients with reduced and preserved left ventricular global ejection fraction. Approximately 50% of the patients with the clinical diagnosis of heart failure have preserved ejection fraction, or in short known as HFpEF, whereas remaining population presents with HFrEF, heart failure with reduced ejection fraction. Current guidelines recommend an ejection fraction of more than 55% with elevated natriuretic peptide BNP or pro-BNP, which Dr. Bijan is going to speak elaborately as the criteria to label HFpEF. So, with this small introduction, we are now going to hear from our galaxy of eminent national experts and our eminent chairpersons who are going to interact with us, particularly in various discussions like clinical evaluation, imaging modalities, medical management, including various trials, intervention, and lastly, the future of HFpEF. So, please share your questions and queries in the chat box, where chairperson would ask the same from our conference manager, Sachin Mane, and his team, Monica and others. So I request all the speakers to limit themselves in the scheduled time slot. And another request to the chairperson not to allow any questions in between the presentations if there are more than one speaker, and the discussions will be after each session and time has been allotted. So friends and colleagues, faculties, to start with the first introduction session chaired by none other than Dr. Padmasree Gulati. She is a very senior consultant physician and diabetologist from Echocardiography Gulati Eye Hospital, Jhansi. Dr. Gulati, welcome. Next, the chairperson is Dr. Abhishek Singhal. He is assistant professor, Department of Medicine in All India Institute of Medical Science, Bhopal. Welcome, Dr. Abhishek Singhal. So over to chairperson to conduct the first session on introduction.
At the outset, I would like to thank Professor Manoria and Dr. Mahapatra for making me a part of this scintillating national seminar on recent trends in diastolic heart failure. So now we are going to have a session on HFpEF, no more an orphan disease, by Professor Manoria, who needs no introduction on this platform.
So for the next 12 minutes, I'll be talking on heart failure with preserved ejection fraction, which was an orphan disease prior to 2021, and no treatment was available which could change the outcome of HFpEF. All drugs, all trials failed to improve the outcome of HFpEF. But in 2021, it is no more an orphan disease. SGLT2 inhibitor, empagliflozin, is the first ever therapy which has improved the outcome of HFpEF. And this is the EMPEROR Preserve trial. EMPA 10 milligram was compared to placebo in patients with HFpEF. And you can see a statistically significant reduction of 21% in the primary endpoint of cardiovascular death and hospitalization for heart failure. The absolute risk reduction was 3.3% and NNT was 31. The primary endpoint was driven by decreased hospitalization for heart failure. The cardiovascular death or all-cause mortality did not show any change. There was also slowing of the decline in GFR, but unlike the EMPEROR Reduce trial, the renal outcomes were not changed in the EMPEROR Preserve trial. This shows the subgroup analysis. Age less than 70 or more than 70 all benefited. Unlike the Paragon trial where only females benefited, you can see here males also benefited in this trial. Asians more benefit, and Asia again more benefit compared to the other regions. Baseline ejection fraction less than 50%, 50 to 60% or more than 60% all showed benefit, although the benefit decreases as the ejection fraction decreases. Diabetic or no diabetic, CKD or no diabetic, doesn't make any difference. or whatever is the NYHA class, whether hospitalized for heart failure, not hospitalized for heart failure, ischemic or non-ischemic. So in several other subsets, the benefit was seen in all subsets, as you can see in this slide. And this is the post hoc analysis. You can see the benefit is seen up to 64% ejection fraction. The other disease which is benefited in recent past is cardiac amyloidosis, which was also an orphan disease in the past, but now with tafamidis, the new innovation for transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, it is no longer an orphan disease. How do we suspect this in our day-to-day practice? If on an echocardiogram you see left ventricular hypertrophy, but the electrocardiogram shows normal or low voltage, this is a very strong suspicion for amyloidosis. There may be heart block, pseudo-infarct patterns. Thickening of the interatrial septum is also an important feature, and sparkling of the myocardium. The ejection fraction is normal because this is heart failure with preserved ejection fraction, but there's reduced GLS, sparing of the apex, which give the classical cherry on top of event, which is diagnostic of amyloidosis. If you are doing an CMR, you can see there's diffuse transmural late gadolinium enhancement, as you can see here. And if you are doing a PET imaging, the details will be exemplified in the subsequent tags. You can see glowing of both the left ventricle, the right ventricle, and also you can see intraatrial septum very thick and still glowing. 99M technetium labeled phosphate scintigraphy is also diagnostic, and the striking feature is there is hyperfixation of tracer in the heart, but there's attenuation in the extremity. This is the normal picture, but as amyloid deposits, the attenuation of the bone scintigram is there. So this is also highly suggestive of amyloidosis. And on a biopsy with hematoxylin eosin strain, you can see amyloid deposit as pale pink color. And on an immunohistochemical analysis, you can see in a rust color in the interstitial level, as you can see here. Now, this was the ATTR-ACT trial, a revolutionary trial, which for the first time found a treatment which was effective for treatment of amyloidosis. Otherwise, prior to tafamidis, this was an orphan disease. And the primary endpoint, which was an all-cause mortality and rates of cardiovascular-related hospitalization, were lower among 264 patients who received tafamidis compared to the placebo, and the p-value was significant. Now, when we look at the all-cause mortality, you can see a significant 30% reduction in the all-cause mortality, and the benefit starts around about 15 months. When we look at the cardiovascular hospitalization, there is a 32% reduction, and the benefit starts around about 9 months. And the secondary endpoints, whether it is a 6-minute walk test, whether it's a KCCQ score, all showed a statistically significant benefit with a significant p-value. Now, when we look at the pre-specified subgroups on the all-cause mortality and CV-related hospitalization, now if you look at the ATTR-RM, which is a mutation, or the wild type, the ATTR mutation, the benefit, survival benefit is there. The survival benefit is also for the wild type. But if you look at the cardiovascular hospitalization, the benefit is negligible, but for the wild type, there is benefit. When we look at the NYHA baseline, class 1 and 2, both the benefit is there in survival as well as cardiovascular hospitalization. But once we go to the NYHA class 3, you can see there is increased hospitalization in class 3. Both doses, 80 milligram and 20 milligram, were effective. So ATTR-ACT has first 3 feats. The first time a medical treatment has been shown to reduce mortality and morbidity in TTR-related cardiomyopathy. The first time a medical treatment has been shown to reduce mortality in HF hospitalization in HFpEF, in amyloidosis. And the first time a heart failure drug is effective on a hard endpoint by acting on the myocardium directly rather than periphery or by neurohormonal modulation. Other orphan, which was hypertrophic cardiomyopathy prior to mavocentan, this was an orphan disease. Whatever treatment we used to utilize for this disease was merely symptomatic. We used to use beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, septal reduction by alcohol surgery, but all these modalities of treatment do not address the basic cause. HOCM already we know is a disease of hypercontractility. There is a hypercontractile left ventricle. There's impaired relaxation. 1 in 500 people suffer from disease, and roughly 66% have obstruction in the left ventricular outflow tract. And HCM is due to mutation in the sarcomere gene, which causes increase in the actin-myosin cross-bridging, resulting in hypercontractile state. And mavocentan is a revolutionary therapy because it acts on it inhibits the myosin activation and decreases the cross-bridging formation. And this is a phase 3 multicentric randomized trial, the Explorer-HCM. And the primary endpoint was a composite of functional endpoint designed specifically to demonstrate benefit both in symptoms and function. Here you can see the primary endpoint, either a greater than 1.5 ml per kg per minute increase in the peak oxygen consumption with greater than 1 NYHA class improvement, or greater than 3 ml per kg per minute increase in the PuVO2, no worsening NYHA, was a significant benefit. All the secondary endpoint all showed significant benefit, whether it is post-exercise LVOD gradient, peak oxygen consumption, greater than 1 NYHA class improvement, KCCQ score, or HCMSQ score, all showed statistically significant. So mavocentan is the first drug developed to target the underlying molecular defect of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, the obstructed form, and this has been a revolutionary therapy. The Explorer-HCM was the most comprehensive and adequately powered randomized clinical trial conducted to date in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And in the Explorer-HCM trial, treatment with mavocentan improved symptoms, improved exercise capacity, and the key aspects of health status in patients with obstructive HCM. The positive results from the Explorer-HCM represent a major achievement towards improving the lives of patients with obstructive HCM and support a role of targeted medical treatment for HCM. So heart failure with preserved ejection fraction in past was an orphan disease, and all of us have faced this, but currently this is no longer an orphan disease. We have empagliflozin, which has shown improved outcome in the EMPEROR Preserve trial. The DELIVER trial is ongoing. We have tafamidis, which for the first time have shown improved outcome in cardiac amyloidosis, the ATTR, there's a transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. And again, we have the mavocentan, which has shown benefit in the Explorer-HCM trial for patients of obstructive cardiomyopathy. So thank you very much for your kind attention.